David Beckham grew up in Leytonstone, East London. His father was a kitchen fitter. His first car was a Volkswagen Golf, which he eventually sold to raise money for Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital. The most expensive car he has ever owned is a Rolls-Royce that only 25 people on Earth possess. And he was photographed driving it through Beverly Hills with a baby in the back, as though the occasion required no further comment. Between those two vehicles is 30 years of career, money, and taste. These are his most expensive cars ever owned, and what each one cost reveals more about David Beckham than the price tag alone suggests. The collection behind the brand. Beckham's public image has always been managed with unusual precision. The sponsorship agreements, the fashion collaborations, the Netflix documentary, each a carefully considered extension of a personal brand built over decades. The car collection operates by a different logic entirely. It is one of the few areas of his life where the choices appear to be entirely his own, driven by taste and personal significance rather than commercial calculation. His net worth sits at an estimated £450 million. The cars in his garage represent a fraction of that figure, but they track his career with unusual accuracy, a sequence of acquisitions that began with modest British hatchbacks and arrived, through a very specific set of decisions, at one of the rarest Rolls-Royces ever produced. Each significant purchase marks a moment, and the most expensive ones mark the biggest moments. The Ferrari 550 Maranello, the engagement gift. The first genuinely expensive car in Beckham's story arrived not as a purchase, but as a gift. Victoria Beckham reportedly presented David with a Ferrari 550 Maranello as an engagement gift, a 5.5-litre V, 12 Grand Tourer, silver, with a front-engine layout that Ferrari had returned to deliberately after decades of mid-engine architecture. Some of his most valued past cars were a Ferrari 360 Spider, a Ferrari 550 Maranello, and a Ferrari 612 Scaglietti. The 550 Maranello came first, and the context of its arrival says something significant. In 1998, the couple were photographed together on Bond Street, arriving in the Ferrari dressed in Ralph Lauren, one of the defining images of what Beckham was in the process of becoming, not just a footballer, a figure who existed in fashion's world as naturally as sports. The Ferrari was not background detail in that photograph, it was a co-star. Victoria understood at the moment of the engagement that the gift needed to match the scale of what they were building together. The 550 Maranello, priced at around £135,000 at the time, matched it. The car is no longer in the collection. The moment it represented is permanent. The Lamborghini Gallardo, the statement car. In 2006, at the height of his Real Madrid and subsequently LA Galaxy years, Beckham purchased a Lamborghini Gallardo in silver. While the starting price for the Gallardo was $195,000, Beckham reportedly paid approximately $250,000 for his example. The premium above the list price reflects the specification he chose. A car purchased not at standard configuration, but at a level of personalization that added significantly to the original figure. The Gallardo was, at the point of purchase, the most visceral and aggressive car he had bought personally. It represented a different register from the Ferrari Grand Tourer. Not a car for long journeys in comfort, but a car for making an entrance, for communicating something specific about where the owner had arrived. In 2006, that communication was relevant. Beckham was at the peak of his commercial influence, as well as his sporting career. The Gallardo matched the moment, the McLaren MP412C Spider, the retirement reward. Shortly after retiring from professional football in 2013, Beckham made his first McLaren purchase, an MP412C Spider in black. This car originally cost $265,750, but Beckham reportedly spent more than $319,000 to get it. The premium above retail reflects both the specification he chose and the market conditions for a car that had become significantly sought after since its launch. The MP412C Spider was McLaren's return to road car production after the F1, a twin-turbocharged mid-engine sports car built around Formula One technology transferred to road use. Beckham bought it in the year he stopped playing professionally. The timing is not incidental. The McLaren was the car that marked the transition, the confirmation that the resources accumulated across a football career were now available for the personal passions that the career had always run alongside. His son Brooklyn subsequently developed his own relationship with the McLaren brand. The detail that father and son independently arrived at the same manufacturer, Beckham through the MP412C, Brooklyn through AP1, suggests a shared taste that formed across proximity rather than instruction. The Bentley Continental GT Supersports, the £300,000 consolation. Of every car-related story attached to David Beckham's name, this is the one that most clearly illustrates the financial register of the household he shares with Victoria. The 2010 Bentley Continental GT Supersports was gifted to David Beckham by his wife Victoria when he was playing for LA Galaxy. Beckham had lost a game, and Victoria decided that getting gifted a new car might help cheer him up. She ended up buying the 2010 Bentley Continental GT Supersports to try and cheer him up. Victoria reportedly paid over $300,000 for the car, despite the retail price being $267,000. The Continental GT Supersports was, at the time of its production, the fastest Bentley ever built. A twin-turbocharged W12 capable of 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, presented as a response to a lost football match. The premium above the list price, reportedly paying over £300,000 for a car with a retail of £267,000, reflects the manner in which it was acquired. Not through a dealership visit with time to negotiate, with the urgency of a gift that needed to arrive quickly and correctly. The car eventually left the collection. The story has never left. The 1988 Aston Martin V8 Vantage, the classic that appreciated. The 1988 Aston Martin V8 Vantage is the most expensive classic car owned by David Beckham. The 1988 V8 Vantage has been reportedly put up for sale by Beckham for £445,000. Finished in red, David was spotted several times enjoying the car with his wife when the weather permitted. Only 534 units of the V8 Vantage were made between 1977 and 1989, making Beckham's 1988 example one of the final production cars from a run that had become increasingly collectible in the years since its conclusion. He acquired it during the 1990s, a period when V8 Vantage values were significantly below where they have since arrived. The reported £445,000 asking price represents an appreciation that rewards collectors who understood the car's significance before the broader market did. In the 1990s, Beckham had been spotted driving his Aston Martin numerous times on the streets with his wife Victoria. The car was used regularly, personally, on British roads, rather than preserved. That usage history for a serious Aston Martin collector adds provenance, rather than diminishing it. A car driven by David Beckham through London in the 1990s is a specific biographical object. The asking price reflects that. The Maserati MC20, designed by him, given to him. Maserati had roped in David Beckham to design a car. As a token of appreciation, Maserati presented a new MC20 to Beckham. Beckham personally did a lot of design tweaks on this car. Considering all this, the car is a one-off. The Maserati MC20 retails at approximately £200,000 in standard specification. The example Beckham received, built to his personal specifications, reflecting his design input across the process, has no straightforward market value because no second example was produced to the same brief. It is, by definition, the only one. The monetary value of a unique object commissioned by a globally recognized name and built by one of Italy's most prestigious manufacturers is not something a price list can capture. He did not pay for it. Maserati gave it to him as acknowledgement of the collaboration, which makes it simultaneously the most expensive and the least expensive car in his collection, depending entirely on how you measure those things. The Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead Black Edition, the crown jewel. The most expensive car David Beckham has ever owned is a customized Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead Coupe. Only 25 units of the Black Edition were released, making it one of the rarest cars in Beckham's garage. All black exterior, custom wheels, a 6.75-litre V12 producing levels of torque that Rolls-Royce has never felt it necessary to advertise with a specific figure, on the basis that anyone buying a Phantom Drophead Black Edition is not making the decision on the basis of torque. Value, north of £500,000. Global production, 25. Occasion of documented use, a Tuesday afternoon in Beverly Hills with a 1-year-old daughter in the back seat, navigating traffic with the roof open. That image of the most exclusive Rolls-Royce convertible ever made, used for the school run, is the final and most accurate statement about what money looks like when it has been present long enough to stop requiring acknowledgement. Beckham did not photograph the car or post about owning it. Someone else photographed it. He was just driving. What the most expensive cars reveal. The progression from a Volkswagen Golf sold for charity to a 1 of 25 Rolls-Royce driven to pick up a baby is not simply a story about money accumulating. It is a story about taste remaining constant while the budget available to express it expanded beyond what the teenager in Leytonstone could have imagined. The Ferrari was an engagement gift. The Bentley was a consolation. The McLaren was a retirement reward. The Maserati was a collaboration. The Rolls-Royce was simply the car he wanted in a specification that only 25 people would ever own. And none of those decisions required him to think about the money, which is perhaps the most expensive thing about them. Subscribe to Drive Directive and tell us in the comments, which of Beckham's cars do you think represents his most significant purchase?